you burned out more than once? Even if you've changed jobs, changed positions, changed companies or industries. Because if you're really honest, every role that you've ever had lets you feel drained after some time, and the motivation that you had going into that role decreased significantly, leaving you wonder why you do it all, really. If that's true, then let's be honest today. The common denominator is you, because you might have run into a high performer trap. And this is what this episode is all about. Hi, and welcome to the Corporate Warriors podcast. My name is Pilar Rosa, and in this episode, we're gonna dissect why it is not healthy, actually a recipe for burnout, to tie your identity as a high performer to your job, to your position, to whatever it is that you are doing right now, and why so many high performers actually run into this trap at some point or another. So this podcast is gonna be super efficient. We're gonna go through all the three things. First, we're gonna talk about the trap in itself, what it is and how you can figure out if you're running into the trap. Second, we go into the why. What is it that leads you to get there each and every single time? And third, finally, we're gonna come to the remedy, because there's something you can do. You don't have to suffer this. It's not something that any high performer has to live through ever again if you do the work. So let's start with number one, the trap. So here's the ugly truth. High performers tend to build up their own career cages. And very often they look very beautiful to begin with. Shiny titles, great salaries, everything that you've ever wanted. Or didn't you? Those nice salaries, the amazing performance reviews, they make you feel proud, they make you feel successful, they make you feel all those nice feelings that you thought would be what you want. They feel like winning. But here's also where it gets really dangerous. At some point, if you're really, really amazing at what you do, it becomes so hard to differentiate what you do from who you truly are. Because you get the praise, you get the raises, you get the status. And this is very addictive. It feeds something really, really deep inside of you. And it's this need that we all have to be valued, to be seen, heard, and recognized. And especially as high performers, we are so proud of what we've achieved because of our own work. So yes, you should be proud, but that makes it really, really hard to not make that part of your new identity. Because every time you achieve a new milestone, it seems that your identity is being up-leveled, which feels really good at that specific point in time. So what happens? You lean in more, you do more, because you kind of get addicted to this amazing feeling that you've just generated for yourself. So you over-deliver, and it starts off as a win-win. Your manager is happy, you're happy and proud, until something happens. Because little by little, you really start embodying this feeling of achievement. That is really achievement that has been valued as such by the outside. So you're not just a head of sales. You're not a senior consultant. You are that person all the time in every room. Psychologists sometimes call that role engulfment. It means that your professional role takes up so much mental and emotional space that it eclipses into your full identity. And the other parts of you, your creativity, your emotional needs, your well-being, your health, your rest, even your relationships, they get pushed aside. And that's what it makes especially dangerous for high performers, because it works until it doesn't. So now we're going to the second step. Why this is so freaking dangerous for you. When your job is completely fused with your identity, every negative feedback, everything that doesn't go out exactly as planned, everything that somebody else seems to be putting in your way, it feels completely personal. Like a missed target, like a negative review, like a difficult client. Why is it that you always get punished? That's how it feels like. So it's really not a work issue anymore. And that's really, let's be honest, not very professional. So in respect, what do? You do what used to be working for you, overwork, over-deliver, redo everything from scratch. So you want to prove yourself over and over and over again, especially if you had a negative review, especially if you had a difficult client. Somebody was not happy with your work. And really what you're telling yourself in your subconscious is like, if I get to that next milestone, if I achieve success with that project, then I'll feel happy, then I'll feel valued, then I'll feel worthy. and secure. But the problem with us high performers is our goalposts always move on. We're never really happy where we are because we have this internal drive, which is a good thing. But in combination with putting all of our identity in our job, this is dangerous, really dangerous. So you start to get into this negative spiral where your worth depends on the outside, where your worth depends on your job results, and your nervous system starts to get more and more alert. And you already work a lot, but now you work even more because something happened on the outside that shakes you in your foundation of your identity. So it's no surprise that also in a study published by the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology, it was clearly found that individuals that tie their identity to their work, they're significantly more likely to experience emotional exhaustion and burnout. Of course, it's a cycle. You push harder, you get praised, you start living for that praise. You might at some point get a negative review, so you push even harder because you really want to please everybody to get that validation. And then you lose yourself in your work and you get in this circle of constant overworking, outworking everybody around you, trying to deliver perfection when we all know this world is not perfect. So it's really impossible to deliver perfection each and every single project. So eventually you'll crash. It is normal. It is natural. There's literally no other way. The question is only when, not how or if, but when it's gonna happen to you too. And now it's getting even worse. Sorry if I'm getting emotional here, but now the thing is, you are on the one hand side so far ahead in the game, so well developed that you do not search for the mistake on the outside, but you blame yourself. You think you're perhaps not worthy of that role, not worthy of that position, because otherwise you wouldn't burn out. So really it gets even worse after the point where you're already in the burnout, because then you blame yourself for burning out, which makes it impossible to properly recover and get that solid foundation of internal resilience, emotional resilience that we all need in this difficult, stressful world out there. Workplaces demand a lot from us. So the more they demand from us, the more strong our foundation needs to be. And tying your identity to your work is killing this foundation. So what do we do? What is the remedy here? It seems very obvious, but I do need to say that. The remedy is this: understanding on a deep, deep level that you are not your job. You are not your position. Why? Because you can never be something that is determined on the outside, that other people have the power over. It's impossible. Just think about it. How could your identity depend on the evaluation of somebody else? It's literally impossible. But believe me, I get it. This is something, a pattern that you need to unlearn. And what I want to do here with this podcast is first and foremost, put your awareness to it. Very important. It all starts with awareness. Then I'm going to put in the doubt of being, how can your identity be defined by somebody on the outside? When your identity should be you, no matter what, no matter how much money you're making, no matter what position you're currently having, no matter how fancy and big your network is, your identity is always with you alone, something that is unshakable by definition. So really, what I want you to do is this: start noticing, when are you starting to get anxious at work? Is that related to a belief about your identity? Do you take feedback too personal in the positive as well as the negative sense? Because yes, once you detach that, also the positive feedback will feel a little bit less rewarding because it does not up-level your identity. But that's okay, and that is good, because you in this situation need to become a little bit more neutral and professional about the job that you're doing. So ask yourself, when do I feel valuable only because I performed? And for all these things, it's just so important to reflect on your work days, reflect on the things that are happening. Make sure to include either your work bestie that you work together with or your partner. Tell them about this issue that you're having so that you can reflect together on things that have happened, so that your partner or best friend can remind you of that pattern, because the pattern is so deeply ingrained in your subconscious that it's really hard for you to see. So get that external support. If you're not ready for a coach, that's fine. Get the support from your partner, your friend, whoever it is that you can talk openly to. So they help you and they can, really put that mirror in front of you once you're running down the wrong rabbit hole. And then let's do the second step. It's reconnecting with the actual qualities that got you there. Because it can feel like if you take the position away from your identity, that there's nothing really left if you've built up everything on that. But I want to urge you to take a step back and think about this. What do I really love about my job? Like, what do you love doing? Like, do you love being creative? Do you love just, managing multiple tasks at the same time? Do you love talking and communicating? Do you love problem solving, mediating? What do you really love about your job? What qualities as well make you a high performer? Why are you that good at what you do? Those are specific qualities that are only your qualities and nobody can take them away from you. Let's go back. If you are a very creative person, it really doesn't matter if your title currently is freelancer, art director, or graphic designer. You are just as creative no matter the title that you're being attributed at this specific point in time. And lastly, what strengths do you have? As well as the weaknesses, but let's take a look at the strengths here, because all these things, your values, your purpose, this is who you are, no matter what. So as an example, you might be the head of strategy right now, but the title is not yours. However, your strategic thinking is yours. Your empathy is yours, your ability to communicate strategy so that others really understand what they need to do in order for the company to get there. It might be your ability to lead with integrity, stay calm under pressure, connect with people. All of these things, yes, they can be part of your identity because that's who you are. It's what you bring to the table. So directly after this episode, why don't you just take a beat and write down the top 5 qualities that you're truly proud of, that you know that make you special, your competitive advantage in the workplace. Like, write down everything that comes to mind. And if you're really open, you can even include your partner, your friend, your colleague, and ask them what do they think, just to get an additional external perspective. Sometimes it's so hard for us to see our own strengths and skills. So if you feel like it, include people that you trust and have their feedback too. It can be really valuable. And then really go through that list and listen to your gut feeling and circle the things that are most important to you and use them as your anchor from now on. The next time it gets stressful at work, you get a negative feedback and you feel that your whole value as a person is being threatened, then you pull up that list and you read through that list. No matter if a project went wrong, no matter if you think you're creative, but your client doesn't think you're creative, you're still creative, okay? It might seem odd, but I'm 100% sure you are aligned with me. You know what I'm talking about right now. So now is for you the moment to do the work and then accept it as it is. So the next time you do work, I hope you are doing it from a foundation of inner stability, rooted in the things that you truly are. You're rooted in your pure, true essence, because we all have that. We all have a competitive advantage. We are 8 billion humans, and every single one of them is an individual with specific strengths, a specific profile, specific skills that are not shared with others, that are individual, that are yours and yours only. So use them to market yourself. Use them as a foundation to stand on, to rely on. This is part of true internal resilience as well, because you know that nobody can take that away from you. So a negative feedback review, you might completely take that differently, take that more as a good sports and say, okay, apparently my creativity was not perceived that way in this project. Why? Perhaps the communication wasn't as well. So really the target wasn't that clear, or you thought it was clear, but really it wasn't. So you delivered something that didn't really get the approval that you really sought for. So really go through that and do the work, and you'll see that everything shifts. So that way, I hope you can start creating success, continued success that is feeling sustainable. I don't want to see any high performer burning out anymore because they're tying their identity to their role. We're over it. This is your time to shine sustainably in the long run. So if you're a high performer and you're looking for that continuous growth, and you're looking for very short and easy content that makes you understand where you perhaps off track and gets you back on track, then subscribe to this channel. It is my mission to support you to stay ahead of the curve and make the best out of the time that you invest in your career anyways. So let's just make it amazing, freaking awesome. So subscribe to the channel. If you have a common high performer in your team that you want to share that with, share the episode. I'm really looking forward to connecting with you on LinkedIn as well, and to see you back again next time. See you then.